Hello, seventh graders. Welcome to the final Monday of Latin of the entire year. It's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. All right, so today we're going to get the first half of the study guide. Basically, we're going to look at 10 multiple choice questions, or questions that will, next week be multiple choice, and then we will look at four lectiones, from which I will pick at least a couple of the translations you'll have to do on the final. So let's go through all of these. I'm just going to go ahead and show you the answers now. So yeah, these will appear in multiple choice form, but I'll just give them to you now in this way. And I will upload this to either Google Docs or just take a screenshot in the form. And then on Wednesday, the entirety of the study guide will be available. But if you don't have a printer, which I don't, so a lot of people probably don't also, you're probably just going to want to like write this down in your notebook and just kind of like write out your own study guide. It involves a decent bit of writing, but I mean, we just got 10 of these today. They're not too bad. You really just need to know these, because this is a part of the test that you should really knock out of the park in case you have any issues with the translations. So, what vowel shows up in every fourth declension ending? Our brand new and final declension for the year, and that is U, right? Fourth declension is all about the letter U. It shows up in pretty much, no, literally all of, well, I guess not the ablative and dative plural, but anyway, all of them, but that pair. Number two, select all prepositions that can appear with an ablative of place from which. So that's not something we talked about too much in chapter 20 because of time constraints, but this is just when something is coming from some place, and the place is ablative. And so we can literally use any of the three ablatives that we have. Yeah, I know it's weird, right? I mean, any of the three prepositions that we have that can mean from, we can use any of those with this ablative. So this will be one where there are four options, and you're going to want to select X day and ab, and then the fourth option will be something like sine, and you don't want to pick that because it's not right. Number three, libero and correo both often take a. Another chapter 20 thing that we just barely got to right at the end. And this is the ablative separation. They take an ablative of separation, as in with libero, I free the direct object from an ablative of separation. So, yep, that's one of the last ablatives you guys are getting. Number four, what gender and declension combination have the least amount of variation? And that would be the fourth declension neuter. That long U repeats on the singular side for all the forms except the genitive singular, which is, yeah, it's just crazy, crazy. Luckily, we don't have to deal with that because we only have one fourth declension neuter noun, that is cornu, and I feel like cornu has not really shown up even that much. Number five, what two cases in the plural of the fourth declension are identical to third declension? And that is the ablative and dative plural, that ibis ending, right? That's the same for third and fourth, which is, yeah, it's nice. Good. I like it. All right, very good. We're halfway through the multiple choice, guys. It's pretty exciting. Let's see. So, number six. How are perfect passive verbs formed? And you're going to pick two. One will be the participle. That's our fancy word for. Um, yeah, I know participle. It's not a fun word. It sounds complicated. That's just the fourth principal part of the verb's dictionary entry, though. And then we're gonna have a form of sum esse along with it. So something like discipula doctus est. The student has been taught. Doctus is a participle of dokeo dokeri. Est is the third person singular ending of or form of sum esse, which matches a student. All right, interrogative pronouns generally ask what kind of questions, and so the answer will be what or who. They'll be together as one of the options. That is not really a technical term, a what or who question, but it's a pretty good way of thinking about interrogative pronouns. We're asking more open-ended questions. We're not asking about something specific, like we are with interrogative adjectives. And number eight, interrogative adjectives, we are asking about another word in the sentence, and it's going to match the case and number and gender of that word. Okay, so the answer will be the word they are asking about, as in the word the interrogative adjective is asking about. Like, which chapters do we need to review before the final? Would be an interrogative adjective, not an interrogative pronoun. Interrogative pronoun version of that would be. Let's see if I can think of an example in 5 seconds.
3, 2, 1, 0.
What should let's try it again.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, how about who will pass the final? Interrogative pronoun example, not bad. Not, I totally didn't pause the recording and think about that. The interrogative adjective version of that would be which student will pass the final. The answer is all of them. You guys are gonna crush it as long as you review all this stuff before next Wednesday. Okay, let's see. Passive verbs are often accompanied by an ablative agent in the preposition ob. This ob, which for us previously is from, right? It's kind of weird that ob can be from, but in a sentence that has a passive verb, it's going to be by. Like the student is taught by the teacher. That would be discipula ob magistro doctus est, or more like docator, because I did those present passive. Okay, passive infinitives end in which letter? It's gonna be a long I, right? We just instead of the e like amare, docere, stuff like that, we drop that e and we put an I there. So instead of like to like or to teach, it's to be liked, etc. And that's all for the first half of the multiple choice. Now these are the first four lectiones that you need to know. So you need to know these sentences inside and out. And if you do, then you will ace that translation section. So these are the ones from chapter 20 and 19. We're kind of working backwards today, and on Wednesday we'll get the 18 and 17, chapter 18 and 17 content, and it'll all be compiled together on Wednesday, just as a reminder. So yeah, all the color coding here is actually going to serve you really well to be familiar with. And you should not only know the case of a noun, but also the function. So if I underline servatutum or homines and ask the case or function, in both cases, no pun intended, they are accusative. I guess that was pretty good pun. They're accusative direct objects, both of those. Where a fructibus dulcibus is a ablative of separation. And if I pick this sentence, you better believe I'm going to ask about the case and most likely function of fructibus, especially because it's fourth declension. So yeah, know that is very important. Libertatis as genitive, I probably wouldn't ask about that, but I might. You never really know, but that's genitive. All right. Of course, this whole video is designed for you to pause on any of these screens and just get these notes as needed. So go ahead and do that, but I'm going to move along to the next one. Filii eorum os versus and ludo cross pronunciabat. Their sons will proclaim these verses in school tomorrow. So I would maybe ask about eorum's genitive, but if I was being, more likely I would ask about hos versus being a direct object accusative, right? That's what red means. And ludo is an ablative. I might ask the case of ludo, but I would not ask the function of it because it's just ablative of place where. It's not very important to know. But yep, there you go. Ludo is ablative in school. Okay, third of four. Iudex aqua iudicium peratum est labora iam superator. This one's a little more complicated translation-wise, but there's only two ablatives showing up here other than the subject and the predicate. So the judge, then we have a relative clause, by whom a judgment has been prepared, is overcome by work. Or overcome now by work. So if I picked this one, I would definitely underline quo and ask the case of it, and you would say ablative of agent. And then labora is an ablative of means, okay? Because both the main clause and the relative clause have passive verbs, and so both passive verbs have they're caused by something, right? The relative clause is caused by the pronoun, like by whom a judgment has been prepared, a direct object has been verbed, whereas the main clause it's an ablative of means because work or labor is not a person. So the judge is overcome by work. That's ablative of means, not agent. We use agent for people. All right, last one of the day. Aquae caleres ex fluminibus flux erant et cum mari inginti mixtae erant. Again, we just have a bunch of ablatives. These recent chapters just love the ablative case. So if I asked about ex fluminibus, you would tell me that is a place from which ablative. An ablative, place from which, right? Because the swift waters are or had flowed from the rivers, right? Place from which, go figure, it's very literal, and had been mixed with the huge sea. So Mari and Ginti is ablative. I suppose that's manner, but I would actually not ask the function of that one. Both of these verbs are pluperfect. The first one is active pluperfect. The second one is passive pluperfect. So I will also be asking about verb tenses, right? Superator is third singular passive. It's important to know. Pronunciavant that's just future tense, right? Good old active future third person plural. And then prohibet is future third singular. I would ask you the tense if I was being mean. That is future. All right, guys. That's it for today. That might have felt really fast, but this is mostly you taking notes. And then again, one last time on Wednesday, all of this will be compiled with the second half of the quote unquote study guide. And that is what you will need to review for, um, let's see, you'll need to review that before next Wednesday when you take the test. All right, I'll talk to you all later. Thank you.